There's something happening in your body right now that you probably haven't particularly noticed. These are small, quiet, repeated, everyday micro habits. And once you start looking, you will find them everywhere. Today, we're going to shine a light on them, not to shame anyone, but to see them more clearly for what they are and to start to bring our awareness into whether we want to make a change. Our micro habits are our body's way of solving a problem, and probably one that you didn't even know you had. We are, as humans, hardwired to conserve energy. And it's not about laziness, it's that survival logic that is embodied in us since we were hunter-gatherers. So every time something feels a bit hard, the body tries to find a workaround. It tries to make it more efficient or easier. But that comes at a cost. And the cost is strength and stability that you are not building. There's two types. There's the ones I would call unconscious ones that are driven by the body. And then there's fear-based ones that are driven by the mind. Let's start with the body-driven ones. These are ones that you definitely don't know you're doing because you've done them so many times. I'm talking about things like when you use the arms of a chair or even the seat of a chair to push up with your hands instead of fully using your legs. I'm also talking about when you lean on furniture to get up, not because you have to, and if you need to, then please absolutely do, because then I know that you are trying to get up and you're building that strength. But if you're capable and you are using furniture to get up, then I would ask why. Another one is when there's no furniture around and you have to get up off the floor. Pushing down on your front knee with a hand to try and make it easier to get over that first hump of movement getting up. I think we all probably recognize that one, and there's potentially a little groan as we do it, and a groan that we kind of didn't even know where it came from. Other things are also like when you are doing the washing up, let's say, and you lean your pelvis against the sink, or you're chatting to someone and you find a wall to just casually lean against. None of these are wrong. There's nothing majorly wrong within them. But if we do the sort of movement maths, we are using less effort to get the job done. And this came to mind when a client from my last cohort of Reclaim Everyday Ease started saying that she was spotting these types of movements in her day that she absolutely hadn't realized had crept into her lifestyle. And that's when listening to a podcast like this or experiencing a program where you're really shining a light on a regular basis on what you're doing makes you suddenly aware. So with these body-driven ones, I would start to say to yourself, where is that coming from? Why am I doing it? And do I need to? And if I don't do that, is it harder? But is that actually an opportunity to build that strength and stability that we're going to need further down the road? The fear-based ones are different. These are, we're more aware of them. They are kind of mind-driven, and they are often born out of a past injury, a fall, some moment that has left a mark on your life. I call it the onion skin layers of your life. All of those things that add up to be all the layers that make us who we are. And the body has often healed, but the habit of protecting ourselves to try and prevent it happening again has stuck around. And this is definitely where we're going up or down stairs, holding the handrail really hard, when in fact we don't really need to. We could hover our hand above it for reassurance, or we could just go a little bit more slowly and make sure that we're moving really mindfully on the stairs. And the stairs is a really difficult one because obviously it does feel more risky, but it's interesting to notice, do you really need to be holding that handrail every time? This is about protection, and it does make huge sense to me, but it's also really good to question those things that we've carried with us for a long time as a result of something that's happened in the past and decide, do we want this to define us going forward? Because sometimes these types of movements can increase our fear, reduce our movement, reduce our capability, and they become almost a bit of a cage that we surround ourselves with. And when I coach people, half of what I'm coaching is their mindset around movement and their confidence, and boosting their confidence and showing them the capability they really do have, but they just need the support from someone else to help them realize it. And this is often linked with aging. These patterns can creep in during midlife, really sort of slowly and quietly in the background. And we don't notice because they actually start to feel normal. They become part of our normal existence, and we're not questioning them because we're still moving forwards and we're not thinking about that opportunity cost. But don't see them as a sign of decline. They really are just a sign of reduced demand on the body because the body is asking for reduced demand. But if we want to stay strong and stable as we age, we need to move with intention in our daily lives, because the less we ask of our body, the less that body is going to offer us. And even though you've been practicing these habits for a long time unknowingly, you can change what you practice. It's your choice. This is not about fixing anything today. I would love it if just for the next week, before the next interview podcast, you just watch yourself for a week. Don't change anything. Just simply become more aware of those micro movement patterns. Notice when you reach for something, when you lean against something. Notice if you ever brace yourself in slight fear of a movement. And start to see this more clearly before you act. And then perhaps you can choose to make a different choice. And one of those things is often about balance. So today's movement is going to build your confidence just slightly by doing a lovely balancing move that is something you can practice at home at any point. It's something that I will often do after I've put on clothes on my lower half, just keeping my leg up and then adding this movement in. It's called single leg clocks. And if you're on my newsletter, Everyday Moves, you will have seen a link to a video demonstrating this, but I'm also going to do it now. Not as well as in the video. So again, I am putting down my screen, but for those who are just listening, we are standing, and I'll shout a bit louder so you can hear. We are standing with our weight fully on one foot, and then we're lifting up the other heel so that we've only got weight on the toe. Because of that, it means we've shifted our weight across to one leg, which makes it easier to set ourselves before we go into balancing. And remember, for balancing, we want the weight to be back in the heel of the standing leg. You can look at something on a wall in the distance. You can touch the wall just for reassurance, not holding on if you need to. Make sure that you are breathing, relaxed in the upper body really helps, tension in the lower body, and obviously smiling. So now that toe that is on the ground, you are going to touch the ground in all the numbers on the clock at the side of the body that that leg is on. You're trying not to drag it along the ground. You're trying to lift it and briefly touch that toe down, keeping all the weight in the standing leg that you're on. And just see how many numbers around you can go to. And if it feels okay, counterbalance that leg that's sticking out with your upper body leaning away from it. So as it's behind you, lean forward. As it goes out to the side, lean to the other side. All right, let's switch. I hope you're doing this with me. Okay, again, weight in the heel on the other leg. Lift the heel of the leg that's going to move. Set your balance, get ready, relax. And then touch all the numbers on the clock all around you. It's a really simple little exercise, but it's great for just adding in a little bit of time. The most important thing is that you are not shifting your weight onto the leg that is touching the numbers on the clock. And if you feel like you're going to fall, stop moving, reset, try not to put the foot on the ground, and then off you go again. Fantastic. Okay, I hope you managed to hear me okay and understand those instructions. And adding in these moments of balance when you put on clothes, when you're waiting for the kettle to boil, really helps build your confidence for things like stair climbing or when you're a little bit less sure of your balance. I really hope this episode gets you thinking about those micro movements that you're doing that are actually taking away strength and stability in your body. And I'd love to hear from you about anything you notice yourself doing. DM me on Instagram, send me an email. I would love to hear. And I'm going to close on a quote today from Graham Aubrey, who is a champion cyclist. And I love this because it's something we should all live by. He said, "My greatest fear isn't crashing this bike at 85 miles an hour and losing my skin. It's sitting in a chair at 90 and thinking, I wish I'd done more." Your body is capable of so much more than you give it credit for at any age. And if you consistently add more varied and beneficial everyday movement, you have no idea where it might take you.